flight. I remember faces.
Do you know today's date?
July 15th.
The flight you were on vanished July 15th. You've been missing for 12 years.
All right. So this is an indie film that was created in 2015. The director and the primary writer is Lamont Gant. Um, this film, as you can see from the trailer, the character Benjamin Lathan's flight disappeared. 12 years later, he returns, hence the title. With help of mysterious beauty, he finds himself on an unlikely journey. All right, and this is in the genre of sci-fi. Um, I was very interested to get into this. So I'm going to go ahead and kick in the door my initial impressions. We have done a lot of indie films, and the biggest thing with indie films is budget and trying not to do too much. So when JS1 suggested that we watch a sci-fi indie film, I was more than intrigued because your budget is everything in the indie industry. So if you got effects and if it's sci-fi, then you really got your work cut out for you. So I was actually very excited to give this a shot. Now that was my initial impression. JS1, how about you, sir? What was your initial impression with this?
For me, I'm a close friend of Marlon McCaulsky, who is a co-writer on this. I actually met the director of this film a few years ago when I was doing some shooting for the J Hill Network, and like had a great time. We actually interviewed him, but I ended up losing the footage because I suck. But they gave me the book to this film. They told me about it, and I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to see it, but life got in the way. And you know what I mean? I don't know why. I was online last week and it popped up on my timeline. And I was like, yeah, I got so excited because I was like, this is so perfect for our show. And I was like, I'm not even going to hit Marlon. I want to put this out and then let him see it. And then, and I definitely want to get both of them on. But I was excited because this is right up our alley and it's something I haven't seen. And I'm a huge sci-fi fan. So with that being said, take it away, boss.
Yeah, so I know absolutely. I know you're a big, huge sci-fi fan, so I knew you was excited about it too. And I was like, yeah, let's definitely do this. Dad Panther, talk to me. What was your initial impression?
Initially, I knew nothing about this movie at all. It being sci-fi, Jay putting it out there, I was like, give me like, I just want to try. Like you guys already know, I watch indie low budget stuff all the time, and I seem to enjoy it a lot more than some of you guys do. So no expectation, just wanted to see what they were going to show me.
Nice done. Iris, how about yourself? What were your initial impressions on this?
Well, initial impressions for me is I enjoy sci-fi movies, anything, sci-fi, anything having to do with magic, creatures, all of that. That's all me. So I was very intrigued. I haven't seen too many indie movies in the sci-fi genre. It's been more like drama or comedy. So when this was brought to our attention, I was interested in seeing, how they were gonna play this out. So I was excited. I was excited, just to see, because as you stated before, Eddie, especially when it comes to budgets and things like that, I was curious, like, okay, on a low budget, how you gonna, play this one out. So I was very intrigued to see what was being done.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. So, I had a chance to watch this. There was another short that also this person that created that I hadn't had a chance to look at yet, but hopefully we'll get to watch it and then have a discussion with this the creator. But let's go ahead and talk about this. Let's pills right now. No spoilers because we still want people to take this review and then go find it. It is available. I was able to watch it on Tubi all the way through with commercials and all because I want to support. I know that's going to help the creator. So I recommend you go watch it on Tubi, but it's available on YouTube also, correct, JS1?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, so you can watch it on YouTube or watch it on Tubi. Either way, if you like what we have to say here, or you want to just form your own opinion, then please go check it out. Dad Panther, let's start with you, sir. How about your highs and lows, please?
All right, so I'm gonna go with the lows. The lows, it seemed the camera work was shaky. There's some editing issues. I feel like the creator slash director or the star of everything, Lamont, if I'm saying his name correctly, I felt like his acting carried this movie. Unfortunately, the rest of the cast didn't really bring that energy. It felt a lot of times almost as if they were at a table read, and that took me out of the storyline that was there. The other part about it was just too long, and that could have been whether it was the pacing or the edit. I felt like even with this as a runtime of 90 minutes, I felt like this should have been much shorter. And then the bad thing I would add towards the end would be like this felt like a trailer or a pilot for this. And those would be what I would say the you know, the lows on it. Now the highs of it, to just flip it, it feels like it's a pilot because to me, I don't understand the business, and Lingo, I'll be curious to see your thought on it. How long would you take to make this an actual movie slash show? Because Netflix does a show called Manifest 3 years after this comes out, and I feel like I hope this individual got paid off of that because it was very very similar to what Netflix does 3 years later on as far as a television show. And that's because some of the good things about it was the plot. It was a very interesting story. It was well thought out as how that story was done. So even with the takeaways that I have, the budget for this was only $7,000. And so that is amazing to do something like this for $7,000, to have people in the comments who are ready for a second movie. So with that being said, the biggest thing that I felt was great that anchored it was the lead in this movie, the plot that was there, and just the idea of how they put it together. I would love to see them be able to do this on a bigger scale.
Love it. I like it. I didn't know that the budget was 7,000. That's some good information there, and that's actually they got a lot done with that budget. Iris, why don't you please share your review with us? What you got?
Yes, yes. So I'm gonna start with my lows as well. I'm gonna keep it very short, because Ron did go into a lot of how I was feeling as well. Um, Other than, of course, our lead, who I think did a really good job. I feel like some of our some of the other cast members may have been lacking a little bit. Were a little dry. Um, it did feel a bit like a table read. I didn't feel as much enthusiasm in certain parts from the other cast members as much as the lead. I felt like our lead was a little bit more believable, especially, I know we don't want to do any spoilers or anything crazy like that, but I felt like there were certain parts that for someone who may have been missing for such a long period of time and seeing new things that would have come out or were readily available during 2014, 2015 era or time. um it made sense for him to be like, what is this, like, what are you talking about, um and I like that they incorporated that, like they made it more believable, with trying to throw those type of things into the storyline. um So in regards to highs, I would say like my biggest high for this movie was the actual plot itself. It was very, very interesting. And unfortunately, I have never watched Manifest. So
Lucky
now
you.
I'm curious. But now I'm curious to compare and contrast. Because the story itself I think was really good. I'm actually curious to see if he does do a part 2, where they're going to go with it. um because I was actually really, you know captivated by the storyline. It's not something that I could actually say, other than Ron mentioning Manifest, that I've seen it in anything, really anything else that I can think off the top of my head. um so yes, I did very much enjoy the story, and of course my high, of course, was your lead character. Like I mentioned, I felt our lead character did do very well, um, and really carried the story and made certain parts, of course, believable. So, so yes, those were my highs and lows for the movie.
Awesome.
Iris came ready. She came ready. I love it. All right. So, for me, this film actually, I don't want to regurgitate a lot of what you guys said, so I'm going to try and go a little deeper without spoiling. But I will say the lead actor definitely carried this movie. I felt like that was probably the best acting, and then the woman opposite him was probably best, and everything else really was really taking me out. Everybody else was it just wasn't working for me. Now, mind you, this was 2015, so as far as the like what Ron mentioned about some of the movement of the cameras and stuff, and you know, at that time, this was for an indie level, this was top tier. 2015, the type of cameras out, type of lenses we would have access to. This is on the level of something I would have put out. So I was very, very pleased with what I was seeing quality wise. I love the fact that they were taking advantage of using filters in rooms where they had low light, so they probably got some grain on the footage. So they decided, you know, just let's maybe put a filter over it to kind of give it more of a cinematic look, so it doesn't look like just like we didn't light it well, whatever. Plus, you know, they also wanted to make that character at the time look he was going through something, so they wanted to give him a certain look, and I think it worked great. And then you started seeing later on that, you know, sharper images, better lit scenes, the use of the budget for sure. I understand, you know, that this is sci-fi, so there was a lot of stuff that green screen wise that wasn't so great, but you gotta respect the ambition and the fact that we knew exactly what they were trying to do. Not trying to spoil, but there was an airport scene that was actually done very well for this budget. You know, most people wouldn't even have tried to pull that off, but I knew exactly what was happening. The one thing I hate about somebody that does some special effects or green screen is you're like, you're trying to figure out like what's happening here, or if it's super distorted or out of proportion. But it was done within reason, and I understood what was happening, and I liked it. I think that as far as my lows, I think yes, the story was a little long. We basically got to a point. It was taking us so long to get to the point, and I felt like the story probably would have been received better if we would have shortened the whole mystery in the beginning, got to the answer, and then maybe expanded on what was to come. And I felt like the movie just kind of takes forever getting you to that answer, and now leaves you wanting to know what's coming. Maybe that was the plan to make people want a sequel, but I felt like the story would have been received better if we would have chopped out a little bit of that mystery in the beginning. Some of the people that were pushing the mystery or trying to figure out what was happening, I didn't really like where their characters ended up later, realizing what they knew and how they could contribute. I felt like everything in the beginning was wasted. I felt like it could have been done better, but I mean, that's a conversation writing wise for me and the creator, because I don't want to spoil. Also, this I want to say that the focus on the CG, the focus on the sci-fi, I think that gave the creator a bit of tunnel vision, because they had such a grand story in mind. They weren't thinking about the actual development of the characters or the way things were flowing. And so I spent more time wondering just why was he gone? I just want to get that answer to that. Why was he gone? You know, his plane disappeared. Why was he gone for 12 years? Everything I got prior to that, all the characters, all the little things, the investigation, I had no interest in. I was just really just waiting to get that answer. And I feel like that was a big low for me, as far as the presentation of this story. And that's all I got for you. JS1, you want to bring it to a close?
Yeah, I think so I have a little thing I do, and I just would like to bring it to the people.
Tubi, oh Tubi.
All right. I would just like to preface this by saying that I love the director and I love the writer. I've known Marlon McCaulsky for a long time, close to 20 years, and I'm just an old nigga. All right, but anyway, let's get back to, you know, I have a thing, okay? When you watch Tubi movies or independent films with small budgets, they fall or have a lot of pros and cons in common. So I just have this little micro segment to kind of just throw some things in there real quick. So a lot of pros is you get a lot of beautiful women, booties. You get an insatiable amount of sex scenes, wild, over-the-top dialogue, over-the-top characters, and any number of like random things you could probably think of. Cons: too many scenes go too long, horrible acting, too much gangster, not enough story, zero character development, and sound's gonna be trash. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I can say that this film, even though it encompasses, now that I'm looking at this for the first time after seeing the film, it pretty much encompasses all of the cons. And maybe, let's see, there were no sex scenes, which I was disappointed in because, the main guy, he's a beefcake. I mean, doesn't everybody want to see him naked? I mean, that's just come on. That's just how the game works. You know what I mean? Even Iris, she was like, yo, what's up? You're wearing too many clothes. Like, you know what I mean? She doesn't say it on camera, but you can see it in her eyes. You know what I mean? Even I wanted him to break out into an R&B set at some point because he looks like an R&B singer. He's fine. Young lady, she's not the conventional style for me. I feel like looking at her in the movie, I think she's tall. Turn off for me, you know what I mean? But she got some nice legs. She got a pretty like face, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, we're not gonna get into that. So, there's some beauty elements here, but the things that kind of threw me out, it is there are 3 over-the-top characters in here. 3. And when I say over the top, they're not necessarily like screaming extra loud, but the way they over emote with certain things, when I say it's wildly takes you out of the movie, it wildly takes you out of the movie. Like to the point where you're like, you want to pause and go, why are you this mad? You just walked in the scene. Or what are you doing? Like, are you really, like, there are so many times when I'm talking to the character trying to pull them out of a room, or I'm trying to pull them to the side and be like, this is good, you're making it suck, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to specify any individual person's name. I'm just letting you know that there are points that it takes me out. There are 0 sex scenes in this movie. Why? You've got 2 hotties. Get them naked, get them in the bed. Let's get some action going. I feel like you could have exchanged some of these elongated emotional scenes where the synthesizer keyboard is just going for like 2 minutes. And you could have just thrown some Sade softly in the background, a couple of candles, and some silhouetted naked chocolateness. And I would have just, this movie would have shot up for me. Lastly, I would like to say, there was no wild dialogue, but the last sentence at the end of the film, how dare you, sir? How dare you? That last sentence made me want to, if I had a DVD, I would have, like I would have, it upset me so much. Just the last sentence, just the last, because the last sentence comes out, it goes black and it goes to credits, and you go, what the fuck? Yo, I was so upset at that. So upset. Anyway, so that's the lows. Let's get into the highs. I mean, obviously, outside of the very attractive lead character. All right. This story had me hooked. The mystery had me hooked. The fact, once again, and yo, this lead guy is really doing his thing. Like at the beginning, he looked like he looks bad. Like, you know what I mean? If you ever seen 50 Cent play the dude with the cancer or whatever, and then he's like mad skinny, like the main character guy looks like that. And I hope I'm not giving nothing away, but to go from you went from mad ugly, like, oh, I really wanted that guy to get shot in the face, or you know what I mean, something should have happened to him. When you see him, he's disgusting. You're like, all right, I don't want to see this guy. Can we murder him or something? And okay, not murder. Can we kidnap him or send him somewhere where I don't have to see him for the rest of the film? and then poof, you know what I'm saying, magic trick, he's a hottie, like, which is crazy, you know what I'm saying? I can't say nothing else because then they'll be mad at me for ruining a film. So I have to say I'm super impressed with that. However, there are some elements in that transformation outside of their physical appearance that didn't make sense. Like, I didn't understand. In those spaces where we got character development, it doesn't explain certain things. It's just they're trying to do character development to either set up for later on down in the story, or you're trying to explain a moment. But I feel like one of the things that hurt me in watching the film, and one of the things that really made me keep looking at my phone, was the fact that we're getting these scenes and these conversations, but it's not connecting to anything. And even though these people are saying things, they're like, I feel an emotion. Okay, so what's the root of this emotion? Where did this come from? Like, how did you get the feeling the way you feel? How did I get the feeling the way I feel? But we never explore that. And I feel that's really weird, especially as human beings. That's a part of how we connect and build relationships, is that there are points where we have to be vulnerable. And I feel like there's not really a lot of vulnerability in this film. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that hurt me falling in love or me connecting deeply. You know what I'm saying? But it was shot really well. The mics for the most part were great. There were a few scenes where I really had to crank my television up to kind of hear what they were saying. And I felt like, man, that was depressing. And that kind of takes me out, but not big time, because, you know, it's a Tubi film. I get it. You know what I mean? The special effects, I really love that, man. Like, even like because you guys see it in the trailer, I'm not giving nothing away. There's a young lady who's like all white, and I'm like looking, I'm really up on the screen like, yo, I don't know how many donuts they had to get to coat her face, but that shit is fire, bro. Like, and then she could lick it all off. That's a whole nother film you could do afterwards. But I thought that was beautiful. I thought the outfit was extremely original. With all of the, you know what I mean? Because that whole outfit was custom. I thought the whole spaceship, that shit, like when you see the spaceship elements and the space elements and stuff like that, that really brought me in. And that stuff made me the most excited. I think that you have something really special here. I really feel like, and I never thought about this as a TV series, but once Ron said, hey man, this is a great setup for a TV series, I immediately kind of got excited, because I was like, yo, yes, this needs episodes so stuff can be explained. I felt like even though this movie was too long, it was too long because there's literally scenes where people are walking. And I'm like, why am I a part of this? I don't like walking in my real life. I don't want to watch nobody in a film walk. Like, you know what I'm saying? And Iris, you better. All right. So those were the things that kind of was like, yo, why are we doing this? I don't want to be a part of this. I feel like that in the creative process, they didn't really have conversations about why certain B-roll was necessary, or why do we need this shot? You know, what is this shot telling us, or how is it? I understand that these shots, like from my perspective as a creative, I'm like, okay, you're trying to explain how we get from A to B, but sometimes that doesn't need to be explained. Sometimes we can just, I don't need you to explain that y'all walk there. I don't care. Just get there. You know what I mean? Move the story along. Get me more into them getting naked with the candles, like I just said earlier. Like, we got to get them shagging each other. Like, why we didn't have that? You had the agent chick. She's obviously single. She's always at work. She never takes a day off. You think that she couldn't use a nice romp in the fax machine closet? Yeah, she did. She needed it desperately, but it doesn't happen. And then maybe the other guy that was really mad that always wore the same outfit, they could have got together, especially after the tragedy moment when she was felt at her lowest. She's the most vulnerable. Closet, fax machine, buns on fax machine, fax bun cheek somewhere, and we all have a great moment. And then now the movie's even better. But anyway, other than that, in closing, I can't wait for part 2, because they are playing on part 2. This could have been better. I am very proud of my friends for going through this like gauntlet of creation and coming out with something that truly doesn't fit in Tubi, because Tubi is where the gangsters live. Tubi is where the strippers live. Tubi is where depression and murder and rape and all of that live. This is an aspirational, hopeful sci-fi film that deserves better than this. And I'm not even trying to be serious. I mean, funny. I'm like, yo, when I'm watching a film, I'm like, this don't look like a Tubi film. Yeah, I mean, excuse me. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being serious by saying this can be so much better. I want this to be better. And like, if you ever need somebody to be an alien in one of your films, give me a call. I bring my own donuts, and I can put all my white powder on. You ain't got to worry about half my hair is white now. We can make this happen. So with that being said, we love you, man.
I got a question,
sir.
Was it the fact that you thought it was the powder from the donuts that made you like the character, or did you actually just like the look, or was it just?
I like the
was
look.
It,
I like the look with the outfit, and then like if you, I mean, y'all noticed. I know you did, but she's wearing like eye contacts, and like it looks so different and weird. And I couldn't. You know how like you can see somebody do like an alien, and you can kind of see where they got it from. I felt like they spent time going, we don't want her to look like 15 other different people. Like, we wanted to give her a unique look. And I really love that. Man, I wish we could do a spoiler discussion, but I'll tell you guys off air kind of some of the stuff that I kind of was just like disappointed with or tripped out on.
I feel you. All right, well, let's go ahead and rate this thing. JS1, if you don't mind.
Be my honor and a privilege, sir. Is this a classic? Is it a good watch? Is it a catch on streaming? Is it not doing it for me? Or is it a or if you ever show me this ever again, I will you and take it away.
Iris, let's start with you. How you feel about it?
I would say catch it on streaming.
Okay.
So Iris, are you catching it on streaming because of the lead, or was the overall project worth catching on streaming for you?
Well, no, the storyline itself. And I'm sorry, guys. Like, I thought the lead was a handsome man, but it wasn't, no pa tanto,
Okay. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He
But
didn't
I'm not
make the
saying
list.
he was not good looking. I didn't,
he just
I
didn't have
didn't
enough
say
look.
that.
No,
No,
we got
I
it.
only have a list for Caucasian men who get to slide through, because I'm not into the Caucasian ishness.
Right.
That's the only list I got.
But he black though.
No, but you guys mentioned, he didn't make the list. I'm like,
Yeah, I
well,
did
there
say she didn't
is
make the
no
list. He didn't make the
ethnicity list. Like,
Oh, I
if
mean,
you're ethnic, it's a plus. So,
hey man.
but no,
If
I
he
think he's a very good looking man. So, but it wasn't like,
And like, yo, I mean, how many niggas you gonna meet that was in a coma for mad years and still had that straight edge ass motherfucking shape up? Whoever
let
was,
me tell you,
was the
and
gangster
that was
in
like
shape.
12 years. 12 years,
Yeah.
I should look older. Like, nigga, you black. What you talking about? We don't crack. So, no. 12
This nigga
years
came
is
out of a
fine.
coma with the fresh yammy. Like he was about to, he came out of the coma and was about to hit the stage with 12,000 people for his first R&B show. This is crazy.
All right, Dan Panther, tell us how you feel about it. How you rate this, sir?
It's not a classic, but I'll say it's a good watch. And the reason why I'm gonna say it's a good watch, again, 7,000. It's not The Moon, it's not Stranded, it's not Predestination, some sci-fi movies that have low budget, but those are $5 million low budget. Again, to have a movie where we can have a conversation of a spinoff from Netflix and the idea of, them doing a second one. I would love if the second one really just took what the first one did, recap it, redo it honestly, and lead into the second one, because I don't know if there's enough there. But it was enough for me to go ahead and say this is a good watch.
That's what's up. So I'm gonna go ahead and give my rating. For me, because this was done in 2015 and how well it looked, and then after seeing a bit of the more recent short and the way the effects have evolved, that makes me want to see a second one, despite the story I felt like not really giving me what I needed, but I still want to see where it can go, and I want to see how well they can elevate it. So for me, I think that's worth it altogether, you know. So I'm gonna give it catch on streaming.
Let me see. What did I write up here? All right, let's see. All right. So as an individual that really enjoys films and definitely loves sci-fi on a personal level, just in comparison to my catalog of stuff that I own and whatever, this would not be doing it for me at all. But what I would like to say is, when you put this up against the pantheon of independent content out here, oh yeah, that's a good watch, baby. That's a good watch. Yeah. I could name 15 other movies that they trump 10 times over. You know what I mean? And it's I love the way this started out, and I loved how I'm not used to seeing indie films pull off suspense or even try to like cover the story up and then have you following leads to get to where you need to go. And I was like, man, this started out really well. And so once we get, even when the introduction of the technology and all of the stuff like that, man, that shit really impressed me. I was super impressed. And there are some great acting moments. I'm not going to front. There are some really great acting moments, and there's some great special effects in here. Some special effects that when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, like, okay, like it's turned out, it gets you excited, and it really draws you in. So like, with that being said, man, super impressed. Like I said, I love you guys, and I can't wait to see more from what you guys got coming. All right.
Well, I appreciate you guys. This was definitely it was a good experience, and I'm actually looking forward to speaking to the creators, to the writers, seeing what they got next, you know, and talking to them from the film director perspective, and then you guys can chime in as, you know, patrons. I just want to really see, because from what I've seen from the short, there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of growth production wise. So I'm really looking forward to what may come next.
Word. Let's get it.
All right, guys. So we appreciate you guys. Please go watch this movie. You can find it. It is Returned, past tense, not the return, just Returned. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Tubi. Go support, go watch, come back in the comments. Let us know what you thought about it. Let us know, you know, try not to spoil it for those who haven't watched it in the comments, but let us know what you thought about it. Let us know if you want more. Let us know if the lead character made your list. Let us know if you want more sex scenes. You know, just let us know everything. All right?
Real reviews, live and unapologetic.